Okay, when it comes to the Cheyenne Bryant of it all, let me show y'all my credential real quick, just so you know I'm qualified to talk about this topic. This is my dissertation. You can also find it in ProQuest. It's a whole book. The people that I've seen talk about Cheyenne Bryant, no doctor, all have pretty much the same opinion that, okay, this lady is scamming a little bit. Dr. Umar probably gave the most disappointing take by saying that, he thinks a lot of people are jealous of her. And as someone who has a PhD and who is licensed as, a healthcare worker, I definitely think that a lot of people are missing the nuance in the conversation. First of all, the way Cheyenne Bryant gets away with, I guess, calling herself a doctor is the fact that she trademarked herself as a doctor. So it's a brand more so than a scholarly title. And then there's also some random school online, I believe it's Harvest Christian University or something like that, that gave her an honorary doctorate. But at the end of the day, her statement that she, quote, ran into 3 doctoral programs is all just a lie. And I think what people don't understand, just a level one, is that the difference between, calling yourself a doctor just because you have a brand and then going in healthcare and fooling people into thinking that you have that training of a professional is what people who are licensed and who actually have the degree have a problem with. Because, for example, in order to maintain my license, I need to complete like 36 continuing education credits every couple of years. So I go to conferences, I do different, Zooms that offer these ways, to update my learning. And I also know that there are people who have come forward online with stories, saying that they were harmed by her. People who have like PTSD and complex trauma. And just the way Cheyenne has talked about beating kids and like supporting abuse like that makes it so that you could tell she doesn't have the training. But again, she does have the brand in terms of like a business trademark to call herself a doctor and to call her followers a doc squad or whatever. But I know her publisher is offering people money back, for the books that they bought if, they feel like they were duped, I guess, by her. So at the end of the day, her publishing house is more responsible, I guess, than she is. And because she calls herself a life coach rather than I guess, therapist or something like that, where she could really get in trouble for not having, the license and or, the training. She can also get away with her scam and scheme. But at the end of the day, people reducing people's criticism of Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, no doctor, to jealousy are missing the mark of the whole conversation, because we are at a time in our country where a lot of people are very stressed out, including myself, seeing the news and with like the high prices of things. And like, if you're going for help, you want someone who you can trust. And, people who are licensed are keeping themselves up to date. They're accountable, to boards. And if anything, this just makes it harder for people, to also fight the stigmas about, DEI and people not really being qualified. And again, I don't think jealousy is the point of any of the backlash at all. Oh, my Shayla, Ciara. Before we talk about Ciara and West and Amanda and the summer house of it all, I want to show y'all the clips that really made me pay attention to this story, because I just find the whole situation very sad, and the discourse around it as well.
Sad. turned down the lights and turned the projector on. And just as the news of the world started to begin, I saw my darling and my best friend walk in. Though I was sitting there, they didn't see. And so they sat right down in front of me. When he kissed her lips, I almost died. And in the middle of the color cartoon, I started to cry. Oh, sad movies always make me cry. Oh, sad movies.
Alright, so let's talk about this Summer House reunion real quick. To be honest, the Summer House show that I followed most faithfully is Summer House, Martha's Vineyard. When it comes to this Summer House, I literally only started watching once I found out about, the scandal with Ciara and Wes and Amanda. And I watched episodes 15, 16, and the first part of the reunion. And I've also seen clips of like Amanda and Wes getting caught at a baseball game, and he's trying to have fun, and Amanda's kind of like pulling down his pants. And I also saw clips of Kyle, yelling, saying that Amanda's not fun. Things like that, in past seasons. The main big debate, I guess, that I've seen online is like, okay, one, is this as bad as Scandival with, Ariana Madix and Rachel or Raquel or whoever, and her whole cheating scandal that got her the, Love Island hosting gig. And then the second big question that, people I've seen talking about is like, well, why is Ciara, I guess, so upset? And some people say she's overreacting and kind of delusional about saying that Wes is doing it just to like spite her, versus the crowd that says Ciara has every right to be upset because, especially Amanda, as her friend, is moving weird. Okay, so addressing the first part, I definitely think that Scandival overall was a lot more dramatic, but at the end of the day, I think that this scandal over here on Summer House is also getting a lot of, press, and people are reacting because you have people that have not only decided to ruin like their business bag because literally they're ruining the chemistry and like the dynamics in a cast of a show that has been pitched on, this friendship and loyalty and, them coming together, rising through thick and thin, so that betrayal, it's not just personal betrayal, it's professional, which is why, a lot of the other cast members are shaking their head at, what Amanda and Wes did. But also just the fact that there seems to be some kind of game that Wes is playing in terms of clout chasing. I agree with Lindsay on that because apparently there's rumors that he also got with Jen Fessler, and just the fact that, he kept getting with Ciara for what I think is just camera time. And correct me if I'm wrong, all you like long time Summer House watchers. It just seems like Wes is being extremely calculating, but he's only calculating to the extent that what he's doing serves his own selfish aims versus, what's good for one, Ciara and the other people involved, and his friend Kyle, whose wife he was sneaking around with, but then also the whole cast again, who's pitching the show on like friendship and fun and trust, and all this snake activity is definitely not fun. It's not gonna, engender trust or make filming future seasons fun. But then when it comes to, I guess, the second question of, like why is Ciara so upset if her and Wes are not even like technically together, and if you say, okay, Amanda was technically separated when she claims this all started, I think most people don't believe Amanda or Wes just because, they lied so much, and Ciara pulled up, the receipts at the reunion that, Amanda was denying everything. And at the end of the day, it is kind of scary to see these people lie in each other's faces like that. And Amanda definitely gives that she's jealous of Ciara, and the way Ciara was there for her and like supporting her and pouring into her just makes it so creepy that Amanda was receiving the love from her and then stabbing her in the back. And then there's like a really creepy scene of Amanda sitting across from Wes and Ciara, and they're both cheering whatever they have going on, and it definitely seems like they were playing in her face, which makes it seem insidious. Like, it reminds me of those movies, where like the guy has a bet that he can, last 3 weeks with like the ugly girl in school, and everybody's in on the joke except for the girl. It's something like that, except Ciara is like gorgeous, and I think Amanda has always felt kind of like the not, I guess, beautiful one or the hot one, because like everybody has seen, especially during you saw she showed up with that like half ponytail whatever, whereas Ciara, she always comes looking fierce, and I think Amanda's jealousy and then Wes' resentment about how he got the villain edit kind of over how he treated Ciara in the past, especially when they brought up like the racial dynamics of how he treated her, makes him, I think, want to get revenge, in the sense that I think he wants a chance to just be on the show on his own terms. And I think he thought that Amanda was going to get the sympathy edit, and she was going to be, the main woman that everybody rallied around, because Kyle was acting up. But at the end of the day, I think Kyle's heart is still good. And he could see that Amanda was playing emotional games with him and distancing herself from him and trying to make herself appear like the victim. But nobody else could see what Kyle saw, because Kyle was seeing it every day. And Amanda was very good at playing the victim. And I think Wes definitely did want to rally around the girl that everybody was rallying around. And again, he did not hide that he still like wanted Ciara. He was like making out with her during the season, and then even during the reunion, when she walked by in the dress, he was like checking her out in front of Amanda. And just the fact that at the reunion they said that he was still seeing other women just makes it all appear that Wes was using Amanda. So he's lying to both Amanda and Ciara, and then Amanda is lying to Ciara and Kyle and everybody, trying to make herself look like a victim when she's clearly not. And poor Ciara, she's just getting used by both of these people while actively pouring into Amanda and trying to be there for her, which makes her feelings of being upset understandable to me. So I don't agree with the people who are saying that Ciara is just like unreasonable and she's too obsessed with Wes. At the end of the day, it's very creepy what Wes and Amanda did to her. So I think she has every right, to go off on them. And she was reading them so well. It made the reunion very entertaining. So I'm definitely going to tune in, for part 2. But say how you felt in the comments. And yeah, remember, you're the master of your fate and captain of your soul. Bye. And shout out to No Chaser TV for this update and picture. But Ciara is going to be hosting After Sun, which is the show that comes on during Love Island when, there are days when they have to do editing and whatnot. And not all of us would watch After Sun always in past seasons. But since Ciara's going to be on, let's watch After Sun this season and support our girl. All right, bye.